Welcome to the woods. Sunny day in August. Makes a change, doesn't it? Not quite global boiling, but a pleasant day. And I put a post up on YouTube midweek saying that I've got some big news, and I have. And a little bit later on in this video I'll share that news with you. But before we get there, I'm going to touch on why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's a question that's asked a lot by people involved with me and by people that aren't involved with the Woodlander Initiative, don't watch my videos but understand that I'm doing all this stuff. They often ask why are you even doing it? What do you get out of it? And it's an interesting question, because from the outside, on the surface, it would seem that it's a net loss. When I started the Woodlander Initiative, it took a lot of time and there were a lot of problems. It is only not even 8 weeks old, and most of those problems have been overcome. I got quite a lot of negative feedback from people that should have known better, because there were problems, because there were issues. Not to worry. That's a common occurrence with a lot of people. Is their first thought when there's a issue or a problem is to stamp their feet, moan, complain, and quit. And I get that. I understand that our lives have been so comfortable, so convenient, that to a lot of people, facing a problem or an issue that isn't sorted out or can't be sorted out instantly is unbearable. Living the way I do, I've had to become much more relaxed. Problems come and then you solve them. There's no point crying. There's no point stamping your feet. You solve them. Sometimes they're faster than others. Sometimes it may take years. But you'll learn something in the process. So to those people that did stamp their feet and throw their toys out of the pram, apologies that your issues weren't sorted quicker. This lifestyle isn't for you. The majority of people I've spoken to, the majority of people that got involved with that initiative have been incredible. They understand that this is a long-term process, that to buy land in every county in the United Kingdom, throughout the British Isles, isn't going to happen overnight. That getting people to change their mindset is going to be difficult, and that is what we're trying to do. People are very used to giving £10 and getting something back for it. Trying to explain that you give £10 and you may get nothing back for it for a long time is a difficult concept for a lot of people to get their head around. But gladly, most have, and things have progressed incredibly well. in under 8 weeks, which is the blink of an eye for a new business, for a new concept, for something that's being built nationally, and trying to engineer the changes in both people, habits, and opportunities on the scale we're trying. 8 weeks is nothing. We're raising over £10,000 a week at the moment, which is phenomenal. And people say to me, well, what are you getting out of it? And the answer is nothing. I don't get paid for doing this. I don't get paid for doing these videos on YouTube. That was never my intention. And people have said, have you monetized your channel? You get YouTube to pay you money. No, I haven't. No, I don't want to. I never did this for money. I didn't start the initiative for money. Excuse me, coughing. I started it because it needed to be done. And no one else was doing it. And it puts us in a position where we're more powerful, where we have more options. And we're going to need those options moving forward. Every time I watch a small video or something on YouTube, people will be pointing out where things have gone wrong, what's about to happen. They'll be pointing out the migrant crisis that we've got in this country. They'll be pointing out how the food we eat is processed to beyond being edible. They'll point out the 15-minute cities and the 20-minute neighbourhoods. The fact that they're planning on taking your private transport away from you. And all these things are true. And they're all pretty bad. And they leave a sour taste in your mouth. Not quite as sour as the insects they're planning on forcing you to eat, but sour nevertheless. And I mentioned recently on my Telegram channel that the biggest problem I see approaching is the central bank digital currencies and the digital ID, which will be linked. And I understand that most of you will say, well, I'm not going to use a digital currency. But you will. Many of you will have no choice. If your boss pays you in digital currency, that's what you'll be using. And trust me, businesses will be incentivized to use it, to pay their workforce in it. There'll be tax benefits and business benefits, and the switchover will be rapid when it comes. So don't say you won't use it. Understand that most of us are going to have to. The digital currency will come with a digital ID. It will be the digital wallet. It will be the person they pay the money to. Without that, you can't be paid. You can't receive money. If you can't receive money, you can't run a business. If you can't receive money, you can't spend it. So you'll have a digital ID. You will accept the digital payments. unless there's an alternative. Now at the moment I can't see an alternative to that digital currency. No one's come up with an alternative cash. I don't think they'll abolish cash straight away. They'll just make it nigh on impossible to use. That's the way our government works, is not by banning stuff, just by making it increasingly difficult to get hold of, to use. And I've mentioned this in numerous videos. So on the face of it, I don't get anything. I've put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. I've had to do things that have increased the amount of time I've had to put into stuff. I don't get paid for it, but it needs to be done. Slowly, the amount of time I need to put in is diminishing, which is good. I've got some fantastic people helping me. The people helping is increasing. It will eventually become self-running, smaller groups contained within the larger group, operating themselves. And why did that initiative start? To buy land. The main reason, to buy land. To combat every single problem I've just mentioned. To have somewhere to go. To have somewhere that's yours. To be able to grow your own food. To keep your own livestock. Most people will never have enough money to buy their own piece of land. But together we can buy land that we can all use. Now there are issues when it comes to buying land. I found that out when I first looked at buying a piece of land to live on. There are different classifications of land. There's agricultural land, amenity land, woodland, commercial land. Every single different classification comes with a different set of rules and regulations. And then you've got the local areas that have their own planning policies. It's difficult to navigate through. So the piece of land you buy is very important, that you can do what you want to do upon it. So for the initiative, finding that first plot of land has been important. It has taken time. But we found it. And it's not just that this piece of land ticks every box, but it ticks every box I didn't even have on the list. I wanted to wait until we had raised £100,000, but I think we need to move now. The piece of land that's been identified, that's been offered, is large enough to have over 2 acres for camping and leisure. Is large enough to have acreage for allotments, growing our own food. Is large enough to have areas for livestock, although small to start, maybe chickens, ducks, goats, is large enough to do everything we wanted to do, which is more than I expected to find. The other problem with when you buy a piece of land is who's next door. You may want to keep goats, but if your next door neighbour is continually moaning about the bleating or the crowing of a cockerel, it causes problems. So who owns the land around you? Are they going to have issues with what you're doing? The land that has been offered is part of a much larger plot that is being purchased by our people, by members of the initiative. Now, there's quite a few members who already own land, but understand that this is important, that everyone deserves the right to access. So they're playing their part, they're putting in their money. And the group I've been working with for over 2 years now, most are members, are buying a very large plot of land and have agreed to allow the initiative a 5-acre plot within it, meaning our neighbours are our friends, meaning that in addition to having access to the 5 acres, there's land surrounding it that you'll be free to enjoy. It's difficult to explain how good it is. It's good for growing livestock. It's also good for amenities and leisure. It's the first plot of many. I don't want to, on this video, go into exact locations. I will do a separate video which will be posted to the Woodlander Initiative website, which will give more information. It's taken a little time. 2.5 years to get to this point, and yet only 8 weeks with the Woodlander Initiative. But the first plot is within our grasp. Your first plot, your first piece of land. I'm going to leave it there. Oh, I will tell you, it's only 10 miles from the beach as well. I'm going to leave it there. Wish us luck, people. For those of you that haven't joined, you may wish to reconsider. Onwards and upwards. Forwards we go. Thank you for listening, you lot. I'll speak to you soon.